Hi everyone, thanks for watching Access Hockey MI. Today we're going to be covering the New York Rangers. We did this different draft lottery this year, as you might have known, for 2020. The placeholder was the first draft pick. We're not going to talk about how weird that is.
You guys can.
And how maybe teams were shafted. Who knows? Don't really have an opinion. But projected to go number 1 overall in 2020 is Alexis Lafreniere. So, reason would tell you that Alexis Lafreniere would be going to the New York Rangers, who are picking first overall in the 2020 entry draft. So, I mean, I can't remember another time it went a different way. So
if it does, I'm going to be
So we're going to talk about kind of New York, how they've been, their development, kind of what he could add to the team, what he's been doing in his career so far. Clearly projected number 1 is pretty dang good. So that's good for him. As Red Wings fans, we didn't want him, so it's okay.
Yeah.
We're all right with it. But he was in the he was in the QMJHL last year, and in the last 2 seasons, he had over 100 points in games played. So last season, 52 games played, 112 points. Obviously, an offensive player.
Yeah. That's
wonderful. He's a center.
Good for him.
The Rangers' development, they have their AHL team is the Hartford Wolfpack. So that's kind of where if we're thinking he would go NHL right away. I don't think there's any reason he wouldn't, but that would be a team that he would be on if he went
AHL.
So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about him as a player, kind of what we see New York needing, kind of what they already have, and go from there.
Mm-hmm. So the important thing with the way we're kind of viewing this too, with it being the Rangers instead of Detroit, is Detroit we focus a lot on development, which is that's the vein that we're seeing this from. Like Janae said, Lafreniere is probably not going to go the AHL route. But dissecting their development, the reason being that he's going to go NHL is because right now it doesn't appear in the last couple seasons that they've had an incredibly solid development program with their AHL affiliate. Now, it's not knocking the development that they do have. They have a lot of really good players there that will be coming up, which is fantastic. Like Keandre Miller is going to be one. Capo Caco just totally skipped that route. And you got Adam Fox. So there are a couple big names in there right now, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of transactions happening that are long-term retention. The most notable recently would be Igor Shesterkin. He was drafted in 2014, and it's obviously goaltender, yeah. And he did really well, but goaltenders, they do take a lot longer, but you don't necessarily see a pattern of develop and pull.
Whereas the Griffins and Red Wings, we continually see.
It's kind of an obsession.
But I think that has to do with where their teams are currently, because the Rangers do have a pretty offensively deep chart already. So that would be Artemi Panarin, that would be Mika Zibanejad, that would be Capo Caco. So Capo Caco was, I think, a little less, he lacked a little bit of the luster that he was supposed to come into. He was picked 2nd overall in 2019, so he was supposed to have a little more, I think, of a punch than he did. In 66 games, he only had, 66 games, he had 23 to 25 points. Yep. So, I mean, I don't think that that's a huge jump of points, but still it's pretty good for a young kid who hadn't played in the NHL, who then went up to the NHL and had to work on playing against grown men and size and all that stuff goes into it too.
And we've always talked about, it is a big transition for that, but with New York, this is the best pick that they've had in a very long time, and they do have a pretty good track record with drafting, though a lot of the players that they had drafted previously that would be the bigger names are with other teams right now. The one that they have retained, though, is Buchnevich. He's a very powerful player on their team and part of their core identity, but with that, it kind of makes you question, the reason that they probably will skip the AHL is because they don't have, a really good pipeline and how to transition that talent from one league to the next to then grow their team organically. A lot of their players have been acquired through trades and all that kind of stuff, which is not a bad thing. But if you've got a prospect pipeline, you're going to want to figure out how to use it so you're not wasting this ability. Lafreniere, he'll do just fine, kind of skipping that route. But we wanted to kind of draw attention to that, being that we are into the development. And we see these prospects every year at the Prospect Tournament. They've got some pretty good guys. So with Lafreniere, he's not going to necessarily save the team. They do need to focus on the development a little bit more.
I think that the guys that I just mentioned point to the fact that one guy can't save a team anyway. Mika Zibanejad, for instance, went on a terror of points. 75 points in 57 games played, and he was kind of late starting on this point streak, and we only noticed mostly because in fantasy hockey, he was getting a ton of points for someone else. So
he was not on my team.
I feel like the New York Rangers are a team that has been sleeping for a long time, but somehow have these great players like Artemi Panarin, who had
almost 100 points.
Yeah, in 69 games played. So that's pretty incredible to have players like that on a team. An okay defense right now, pretty good goaltending in Henrik Lundqvist and in Shesterkin, and the other goalies that they have coming up through the line. I feel like they haven't made the playoffs since 16-17 when they got beat in the first round.
Right.
So that's kind of surprising to me, seeing as they have, I think they're lacking consistency is basically what it is.
Yeah, they're lacking consistency. They're restructuring at top instead of focusing on the restructuring towards the bottom as well. Like, they've changed their coaching. They've changed a lot of their core leaders and things like that. And especially trading Brady Shea was kind of a surprising one to Carolina.
Yeah.
And he's obviously a dynamite player for them. But they need to kind of grow that consistency. And regardless if you have the first, second, third pick, it doesn't matter. If you cannot properly develop them, it means nothing. You can't have one player that's going to save the team. Hence,
it doesn't
Panarin
happen.
And Zibanejad.
One player does not save a team.
Exactly. Yep. And what they need long term, even with Lafreniere being kind of the top tier kind of guy, he could come out with guns blazing. That would be great for him.
I'm guessing he will.
He will.
I'm thinking he will.
He's pretty confident in his ability.
I think that'll help a lot.
But long term, looking at their prospect pipeline and who they've drafted even in the last 5 seasons, even guys that we've watched like Hunter Skinner, that was from the Muskegon Lumberjacks, so good job, bud. They need to invest a little bit more of their resources in the communication with them as well as their ECHL. You don't see a whole lot of stuff going on there with that, and I think as a long-term playoff running team, much like Detroit, they need to put a lot of resources into that to then create a core that's developed together.
I was just going to say, it helps with the Red Wings and the Griffins. It helps because the players who go from the Griffins to the Red Wings, they have such a similar way of training and such a similar way of coaching that when they go from the AHL to the NHL, there's not this gap in communication. Right. There's not this gap in training style. It's a cohesive, and they've worked on it for years. It's a cohesive way so that when you're not shocked going into the NHL, you can go up, you have similarity in coaching and in staff and in just the mission, I think, of the team, and I think that would really help in seeing that with the Wolfpack and with the New York Rangers.
And they've been shaken up quite a bit as far as the Rangers have in the last 10 seasons. They've changed coaches 3 times.
Yeah.
So that, yes, you want to structure that, and I know a lot of people in Detroit, they're like, oh, fire Blashill. That's not always the case. They're not the ones on the ice. So, and you can kind of see this playing out, that New York is an incredible team, and I think they do have very good leadership.
A sleeper team, though.
They are.
Team that can't
They can do more.
Yeah, they can do more, and they can't really do the finishing touches.
Right. Yep.
And that's interesting, and there could be more missing than we're even saying. It could be something different, of course. We're just giving our opinion. But that's kind of what we think, and we think that Lafreniere would add. Of course, he's going to add to any team he's going to be drafted to, so that's not even a concern. Like, whoever he went to, he would have probably been great on the team.
We just don't want people to put all their eggs in one basket when it comes to him, because Kakko, he still needs some time.
Yeah.
Lafreniere, he will do just fine in the NHL. But just like Detroit, we get stuck on they're not going to save the team.
Yeah, even us getting the 4th pick, it's not going to save the team. It's going to be an important piece, and every hockey team is just a bunch of pieces together.
Yep.
That's really what it is. And without all those pieces, including coaching staff, it doesn't work out properly. So we think that he's going to be great.
Yeah,
honestly.
Yeah, and he'll do just fine. And as far as playoffs in the future goes, I think New York could have a really good shot. They showed a lot of tenacity at the end of their season this season.
I think keeping their motivation is going to be really important. Just keep working at it. It's been a while since they've been in the playoffs, and I think that they're going to get hungrier and hungrier, and I think this is going to be something that'll kick them into gear.
Those prospects,
but I think they're going to get kicked into gear trying to use this as something to push them forward, someone to work with their wingers, so I think it'll be great. So that is what we think about Alexis Lafreniere probably going to the New York Rangers. Let us know in the comments what you think of him, if you've seen his playing style. Tell us what you know and what you think about the New York Rangers. That would be super great to read.
If you've watched Hartford frequently, let us know what you think about their development program.
Yeah, for sure. And also let us know how you think the playoffs are going and what you think about Chara injuring Andrei Svechnikov.
Oh, man.
Let's not talk about it. All right. We will see you guys next time.